The governor vetoed our full pension reform bill in June of 2015, 2 years ago. And he was really dismissive of us. He also vetoed full privatization and a budget. But he's taken a different view now. And in the last election, we increased our majority to 121 in the House, and the Senate increased their majority to 34 Republicans. And it just showed that people are looking for public pension reform. Our pension costs in 2016-17, what we contributed to the state employee retirement system and the school employee retirement system was about $4 billion on an annual basis. That is up. That is up from $1 billion in 2011-2012. So in just 5 years, we're paying $3 billion more annually into the systems. It's not sustainable. And here's the second thing. Most of our neighbors who are with private sector employers are in defined contribution plans. It only seems fair that new hires, now I'm talking about new hires, will agree to be able to maintain our commitments, to past employees and present employees. But for new hires, we ought to be able to move to a defined contribution-like plan because that's what the private sector has done since the 1990s. I think it's a fair approach. And it's a shift of risk, but it's also mobility for the employee. There's some advantages to a defined contribution plan. We're going to have a match for the defined contribution plan. It'll be very competitive with the private sector, but it's just time. I think the governor just before was just, in lockstep with certain of the public sector unions and has finally come around to the idea with Republican majorities that we got to move into the 21st century. And that's what we're doing here. We have been keeping pace with increasing our payments to the systems to get to our actuarially required contribution. But what we've been missing is the long-term concerns of not moving to a defined contribution plan. The savings in large part will be seen in later years. That is true, but at a certain point you just got to turn off the spigot and you got to move to where the private sector's been. It will cost much less for these new employees in terms of benefits than what we've been paying for past employees and present employees. And that's where the savings is going to come into place. Future legislators are not going to have to deal with this issue. They're not going to have a Puerto Rico bankruptcy on their hand. They're not going to have a Detroit bankruptcy on their hand because we're taking the important step today. I wish we'd have taken the step 5-10 years ago, because we wouldn't be facing what we're facing right now if we would have done this before. We're going to meet our commitments, but in many ways this benefits retirees and existing employees because we're going to shore up the pension systems for state employees and school employees. At least when I talk to people who are school and state employees, they know that a change has to occur. And their sense is, I put in my years, I have my agreement, we have to meet that agreement, our commitment there. But for new hires, this is where the world has been going for quite some time.